Joshua for long. This is Awareness Yans, and this is a program that aims to tell you one or two things on how to live well, be safe, and do things the right way. So today, of a self-centered person. So I'm going to be taking you through some signs to look out for of a self-centered person. We're talking about anxiety and depression, which we are still going to invite a professional psychiatrist how to avoid certain things before you get depressed. Yes, depression is a real deal in our generation, and we need to be very careful when dealing with depressed or anxious people because you never can tell that your small action might be what could break or make them. So I'll be starting off with the signs to look out for a self-centered person. Well, first of all, I have to just talk about what self-centeredness really is. You see, when you talk about being self-centered, is putting yourself first before any other person, which is not bad. But some people go overboard with self-centeredness. They just take it as okay, it must be me or no other person. So I will call them selfish or greedy people. So I said signs that you can look out for a self-centered person. So number one sign is they dominate conversations. Yes, when you see people that want to always be the ones to be the first, or they want to be the ones talking, they want to be the only voice sounding in the room. That's a serious issue of a self-centered person. They want to dominate. I've been in groups where you see that this person is the person that wants to stand out, want to always be that person. To if it's not me, nothing happens, nothing works. Those are self-centered people. They will intentionally cripple every other thing that happens around in that place because they are not there. Yes, I have a story of a person that because he's there, things work. When he leaves, everything scatter. It has been a pattern over the years, and it's not a very good thing. They dominate conversations. They want to be the one to tell you this is right. Anything you say is shit. It's rubbish. It's trash. They don't want to hear your own side. So that's one of the signs. The number two sign is they lack empathy. Yes, they lack empathy. They don't feel you are a human being. They don't have that human compassion for you. They look at you like, oh, well, you are like a tool to every one of them to use. So they lack empathy. Even if they see that you are being hit by a car, they won't shake, they won't flinch. That's one of the signs. They lack empathy. And you should watch what they do when other people have issues around them. When you get to find yourself in a situation like somebody is affected and you see the way they react and treat other people, one day it shall be your own turn. They treat you like that. For those signs. So the number three sign is they take more than they can give. They are more concerned about what they can get. They don't want to give you anything. Even if they have 1,000 more than you, they still want to take things of being self-centered. They don't care about you. They want to take more from you than you giving them or them giving to you. So number four, which I'm going to just run through, is they want things done their way. You see those perfectionists here. Those are people we need to really look out for. It must be my way or any other way. They are like that. It must be my way. My way is my way. It's nobody's way. Nobody's opinion matters with them. They are just like that. So number five, they are quick to blame others and avoid responsibilities. When you see people that I was talking about blametocracy in the last life, they always blame people, even when their actions directly affects what happened. They'll be like looking for someone else to point fingers at. They don't really care about you. They just want to just give you that feeling of I call it blametocracy for a reason. That's the science of studying people that blame a lot, and I see a lot of people that do that. They have to be very careful, and they don't take responsibility for anything. If something happens, they always exclude themselves from the whole thing, and they always feel like you should be blamed for their own actions, even if they know that their actions is what is really contributing to what is going on. So they always want to be the center of attraction. They want to be if it's I have a friend, then let me just cite this example. He prefers you to come to his house, but he doesn't like to come to your own house. Yes, he feels you should be. Anytime he does a party, he must be his own. If you invite him for a party, he doesn't come. So that's a real example of a self-centered person. I cut off a long time ago because I saw be for him until he did the same thing to them, and it was like, yeah, I should have listened to you. And I know the cry of a foolish person, and they always cry at the end of the day, crying anyhow. So now we need to now look for the causal factors of being self-centered. A lot of people, they don't know they're self-centered. Actually, they don't really know that they're self-centered. So for you to be able to know is one thing. Is to be able to help them is another thing. Because even Jesus Christ helped us. He knew that this is how man is, but he still came and died for our sins, whatever. But there's reasons why somebody might be self-centered. That just number one is the upbringing, probably where he grew up from, the family the person grew up from, the brothers and sisters they grew up from, the association he had when growing up could be a causal factor of being self-centered. Probably they prioritize being individual in their house, so that contributed. Like uh, a child growing up in the house, you have like four rooms, or you have one room, but the child is craving for another room. When we're growing up, children like us, they put us in one room. So after some time, they now have, we are now grown up. Okay, we can move to another room. So you have that connection of you are reliant on each other. You cannot have your own space at this point in time. There's a time for everything, but the upbringing could be that causal factor why they feel self-centered. Because as long as I can have my room, then you don't have a right to come into my room, which is wrong actually. So it's what boils down to the upbringing. Then number two is rejection. Some people to cater for their self more because of the fear of rejection, or rejection from growing up too. Maybe they've been having issues with their mates, and they've been rejected in their peer group. Probably you want to play football, and your mates are telling you don't come here or else we will beat you up and stuff like that. That rejection. I'm very tall. I used to like basketball. At some point, I pulled away from basketball because the friends I had then were more of the we don't want you here. And because of that rejection of they don't want me here, I don't want to play basketball. I don't want that. This is just an example of what rejection can cause. Although it didn't contribute to me being self-centered, but it pushed me away from there. So a lot of people that become self-centered, they feel they should take care of themselves more, and they isolate themselves. The more they isolate themselves, the more they have this ideology of themselves, and it contributes to the larger picture of what self-centeredness can ever be. Then trauma, probably a life experience contributed to being self-centered. You don't want to open your doors. You don't want to give that room for anybody to come close anymore. So you tend to prioritize yourself more than any other person. So a trauma can actually cause self-centeredness as well. So social cultural factors like your peer group, your ethnic groups, the way they relate with each other could contribute to self-centeredness. If you belong to an ethnic group that prioritizes them first before any other person, you might end up being self-centered actually if you are not very careful. So self-centeredness in the sociocultural aspect has been a real cause of what somebody can ever face in becoming self-centered. And mental health conditions too can also contribute to self-centeredness too. And there are studies that have highlighted people with health conditions, mental health conditions, that became self-centered because they have one or two issues. So how do you cope with self-centered people? It's very simple. Just tell them how you feel. When you have issues with them, you are too self-centered. Tell them I don't like what you're doing. You are too into yourself. You don't consider any other person. Let them know that they are doing something wrong, because many of them don't know that they do something wrong. Let them know. Tell them. You don't have to hide your feelings from them, because you might end up hiding your feelings and having issues with them because you've decided to hide your feelings from them. Tell them if they've stepped on your own line. Tell them, this is what you did to me, and they realize that times you start to help them to come out of being self-centered and then being selfless, because the being selfish is the one thing, selfless is letting yourself out of your box. Then no, another thing is you suggest therapy to them, because many of them don't know how to come out of being self-centered. So a psychologist or a psychiatrist for help, or a counselor or whoever can help them to get over it. Then another thing is accepting yourself. If you notice that you're self-centered in any way, you sit down, assess yourself. Let's look at how I can help myself out of this condition of being self-centered actually. Then another thing is adjust your expectations. When you are with a self-centered person, you don't keep your expectations high. You drop it, because you might end up not getting what you want at the end of the day. You just don't expect. Just know that they can never measure up, or they will not measure up. Once you have that mindset of, if I'm giving, I don't expect back, then there's a good chance for you to overcome the character somebody can put up with you, or the expression the person can put towards you, to adjust your expectations. Then when you find out that they are not behaving according to what you expect from them, you can adjust your boundaries, set boundaries on on your relationship with them. Let them know this is why I'm cutting off, or this is why I'm distancing myself from you, because they have to know for you to be able to keep them or help them. So another thing is you have to keep your distance from them. Yes, if you see that they are not bending, or they are not doing according to the way you expect, or they are not changing from their ways, then you just keep your distance from them. It saves you a lot of headache. It saves you a lot of trouble. So you don't have to start dragging somebody that does not want to change, because you can actually drag a horse to the riverside, but you can't force the horse to drink water. That's just how you can get yourself and help them. Help yourself and help them. So the another thing that you need to look out for is how can you tell if you two are self-centered? Yes, because you might be seeing, they say you remove the log in your eye. You can see that you're pointing in one direction. You're pointing, but you have other fingers pointing back at you, at least three pointing back at you. Three pointing back at you. So if you are pointing to somebody that this person is self-centered, you should know, you should try to assess yourself as well, to see if you too you are self-centered, so that you don't find yourself in a pickle where you don't realize that you are even self-centered. You are even the issue. You are the problem in your so you have to, things you need to look out for to see if you are self-centered. Do an assessment of yourself. Now you see that, do you monopolize conversation? This is the first question to yourself. But do I monopolize conversation? I need to ask myself that question as well. Do I want to be the only one heard? So if you are looking at another person, you need to look at yourself as well. You need to assess yourself. If you are always the one speaking in the room, you are always the voice that ends the conversation, then you should know that you're already monopolizing conversations and you are actually self-centered. That's just the long and short of it. So you need to be very careful in your own dealings. Before you accuse somebody, you should know that. That's why when they brought the woman to Jesus and said, this woman has been accused of adultery, said, he who is without sin, be the first to cast the stone. And you see everybody walked away from there. If you are without blemish or any accusation, so again, you go ahead and throw the first stone. And they all left with their heads bowed down and their tails between their legs. So do you monopolize conversation? Since you know, if you are finding yourself in that situation, man, you need to really really look at changing your ways. You don't really listen to anybody. Yeah, that's a problem. When you don't listen to people, it's a big problem. Yes, you talk, and when people talk, you don't want them to talk, shut them down. You have a problem actually. You are self-centered. That's just the long and short of it. So, yeah. And you see, when you check your friends, now I need you to do something. You go check yourself, assess your friends. Yeah, when you check when you are self-centered, you attract weaker personalities. Yes, you go look at the list of friends. Take a book, list your friends. If you don't find somebody that's better than you amongst your friends, then you are a self-centered person. Yes, I said so. Because you cannot be attracting weaker personalities to yourself. If you are a stronger personality, you should have strong personalities as friends. so that you too can measure up and match up. Because most people that are self-centered, they go for the people that are not up to their standard, where they can give 1 naira, 2 naira. They don't want you to be better than them. You can never be better than them. They want to be the one you feed off their hand. If you are in that category of you want people to always feed for me, then you have a problem. Yeah, you're actually self-centered. Not funny, but you're actually self-centered. You should stop what you are doing and really assess yourself. Because when you start attracting weaker personalities, then you now find out that you have a problem. Then you are alone when you need help. Ah, you are alone when you need help. You see, when you see people that are self-centered, people always wait for their downfall. You will be surprised when you now have a problem. People will now be happy that you have a problem. That's a big issue. You need to now look at yourself. Okay, when you need help, people are not there for you. Then you need to now assess yourself. If I've been forthcoming, if I've been good to people around me, when you now you call this one and be like, I cannot help you, I cannot help you. Not to say that people abandon people when they get into trouble. The main point is, when you see nobody's there for you, then you should check if you are really self-centered. And let's now put it in a situation where you have, but you are now calling your friends and they cannot help you, then you should check yourself very well. Is it that you've selected the wrong set of friends that are self-centered and you are not? Or you are actually self-centered, that's why nobody can come to your aid. So we need to look out for this thing. So how to be less self-centered? It's very easy. Listen to others. Not everything they say you listen to, but listen to the major points. Listen to others. It's very simple. And participate in things others want to do. Be social. Be sociable. Go out with people. Participate. Don't be. It must be my way all the time. Let people do things and let them do, and you will move along, and don't be grumpy in their own arrangements, because a lot of self-centered people will be like, hey, because I did not plan it with you, that's why the thing is not making sense. Auntie, brother, uncle, daddy, you should be very careful. You are a self-centered person and it's a problem for you. It's actually a problem. So be more empathic. So be empathic. Have human sympathy. Others are human beings, because if something happens to you, you still need people to carry you to your final resting place. So be empathic. Don't think about it like, okay, if you're not there, nobody will be there for others. Don't worry. When you go, other people will take your place. Within a space of like cham cham cham, you have been replaced. No time. So ask what others need. Always try to assess by asking others. Do you feel comfortable with me? Do you feel comfortable? Ask. Be surprised that people really want certain things to change, but you just need to give that room for that. So, and if you find yourself in any of these things, you can consider therapy. Go seek help. Let them help you to get over it, and you'll be good at the end of the day. So don't be self-centered. I've come out not to be self-centered. This year, I'm going to be selfless. I'll be selfless. I'll be giving you things to help you to be less self-centered. Be selfless. Be selfless, not selfish. Don't be selfish. Don't selfish in the market. Selfish. Don't be selfless. So this has come to the end of our live for today. Please like, subscribe. If you've not subscribed, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Awareness Chance will be coming back to you next time. See you next time in the next episode, where we'll be talking about more things to help us on a daily basis. Do have a wonderful day and good night. Bye. Ciao.